here is the regular zipper that you would do. And this one is going to be, when I talked to you earlier, you're going to baste it in all the way to the bottom. And I go ahead and get a longer zipper, so I might get a zipper that, if it takes a 7-inch zipper, I might get a 9-inch zipper so that I have a little extra tab up here, because a lot of times the tab ends up to be a problem. And so now what I do is I do not pin. And that's where I think a lot of people get into trouble, is you pin and then the sewing machine kind of scoots and you pull the pins out and you have a little bit of distance that has to be eased in, and it doesn't do it. So what I do is I start stitching the zipper tape to the seam allowance. That's where I'm going to start, and I want to get my needle back over here on the other side. And oh boy, what I did was I pulled the thread out. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can see to thread. Thank goodness for needle threaders, right? Boy, because I feel like I'm totally blind here. Okay, all right, now I'm going to start stitching, and when I start stitching, I am lining my teeth of my zipper tape up right against the seam allowance. So my ridge of my seam allowance, I put my finger right there. I take a few stitches, I stop, I pull it up again, I take a few stitches, whoops, something's happened here, and I am wound up. Okay, now that happens, but you know what probably happened is I probably didn't get through the tension disc when I pulled that thread out. Okay, but you can get the picture of, you're going to stitch down right beside, and the main thing you're going to do is follow that seam with the ridge of the edge of the tape. Okay, so if you wanted to do a lap zipper, the lap zipper is, now what I do is I follow the ridge of the tape, of the zipper against the side of the seam. So I'm over just a little tiny bit. I stitch that down, and then I turn it back like this. And then I'm going to stitch on the edge. Now let's see if I can get my machine to stitch, or if I'm going to have game here. Uh-oh, I'm on the wrong side of the zipper foot. So I need to move over, get on the right side of the zipper foot, and again, you know what I said about taking a little bit longer stitch length? Not a lot. Don't take it to a basting stitch, but anyway. So now I'm going to go all the way down that part of the zipper. And then when I get done with that, now I'm going to, my zipper actually is going to lay right to the edge of the other side, and then I'm going to stitch on this side of the seam allowance. So do you see where I'm at right there? So this is actually going to lap over slightly. Now, when I get ready to stitch in my outside stitches and following my outside stitches, I stitch, I know, on the back. I'm sorry, it only works on the back for me. Now, most of the time they say, turn it to the right side and take the stitches. If you don't have the stabilizer in there, you're probably going to have a problem. So you need to just be sure that you follow the edge that you're supposed to follow here on the top. And then if you have a guide, sometimes you have a little guide on your foot, and that will help you go right down the center.